Okay? So what we were trying to get at in all of that discussion is, what is it that lends the American system, and to a lesser extent the British system and the Canadian system, to a dominant two-party system? And we had talked about several reasons. I had suggested to you one reason that I don't think is a very good explanation at all, and that's the history explanation. So I won't go back through that again. We talked about this argument that there's a natural dualism to American politics, which I'm fairly dismissive of that as well. What I give a little bit more credence to is this argument about there being a dominant liberal political culture. And again, I'm not going to go back through all the points we made last time on that, but if you can just imagine, as we talked about earlier in the semester, there being this continuum of political ideas, of political ideologies, right? And if you buy into the point that we made early in the semester, that historically American political debate has been framed within the context of a fairly narrow range of alternatives, and we don't get way out there on that end of the continuum and entertain totalitarian alternatives. We don't get way down here on this end of the continuum and entertain anarchist alternatives. Our political debate is framed within a fairly narrow range of alternatives. I know that's hard to kind of accept. For many Americans, I think that would be kind of hard to accept, because all we really know based on the news and information that we get about what's occurring in our political system is that we're so divided. Divided country, we're so divided. And I will confess or concede the point that I think we are more divided in American politics today than we have been in a long, long time. I don't think we're the most divided we've ever been. It's hard to imagine us being more divided perhaps than we were during the Civil War period, right? But we're, I think at least over the last, 50, 75 years, we are probably more divided than we've been at that point. But that's a long way away from saying that we're entertaining all these different ideological alternatives. I don't think we're doing that, right? Now, remember we said last time, if you imagine that continuum as representing not just different ideological alternatives, but also representing political parties, or we can pick political parties on that continuum that articulate these different ideological alternatives, then that helps us understand why we're both embracing, articulating, espousing, whatever term you want to use there, liberal ideology, liberal alternatives, then that would put them in the middle of that continuum. And, if somebody was to say, well, Fagan, if you're right, and both the Democratic Party and the Republican Party have been, at least up to this point in our experience, have been liberal political parties too. Why don't we just have one? And my response to that would be, remember that one of the very important political values in liberalism is competition. And it's hard to have competition if you just have one political party. So you have to have at least two political parties to foster competition, but maybe you don't really need more than two political parties, given the fact that they're both bringing liberal ideals to